So Miro, welcome.
Thank you.
This week we've seen the trade war between China and the U.S. escalate. Ultimately, what could this mean for consumers?
You know, on Monday, the Trump administration added an additional $200 billion in items that have tariffs on them. That means half of our trade with China now has tariffs that will be about 25%. For consumers, this has not too many short-term implications. So for the holiday season, most retailers ordered all their products months ago. It's already arrived. It hasn't been impacted by tariffs. But late season items, like hot items or seasonal items, those will be impacted. So anything that's coming to the United States in November, December is going to have tariffs of 10 to 25%, which means most retailers are going to pass that through to consumers. So everything you're going to spend from November going forward might be much more expensive. Things like bikes, things like hats, things like clothes. All these things are going to be impacted as they're manufactured in China. And what's scary for most manufacturers is there's not a lot of capacity to manufacture these things outside of China. So for example, hats. 79% of all hats are manufactured in China. The next closest country is Vietnam with 9% of the capacity. You can't make that shift. So a lot of products are going to be hit with substantial price increases that are going to really impact consumers toward the latter end of the holiday season and certainly in the first quarter of 2019.
Bad news for holiday shopping. Moving on to Amazon. Amazon has announced that it's actually going to expand its Amazon Go stores. These are the stores without cashiers. How does this fit in with Amazon's strategy for brick and mortar locations?
You know, Amazon is really embracing brick and mortar, but they're changing the rules in brick and mortar. So these Go stores, there's only 4 right now. They're going to be about 10 by the end of the year, 50 by next year, and then it can explode. The cost to set up one of these stores is really expensive. Over $1 million of hardware needs to go in, cameras, sensors, technology to kind of record people coming in and out. But what's really powerful about Amazon is they're going to make shopping frictionless, and it's going to impact a lot of retailers. So these Go stores are small. They have salads and sandwiches and snacks and drinks, but you walk in, you have an app, you download the app, you scan the app, and then you pick up what you want and you leave. And they're targeting really millennials. You know, they're affluent, they're busy in center cities. They're used to working with a digital wallet. So this is really powerful. It's going to hurt convenience stores like 7-Eleven. There's 8,000 of those in the United States. It's going to hurt fast casual chains like Panera or Subway because you have to wait. Here you just come in and you pick up stuff, and what Amazon is saying is they're making these products healthier, fresher, more interesting to these consumers who are looking for better fare.
Thank you. And also, very interesting report came out. A new report shows that, this was surprising to me, that half of all mobile traffic by next year is expected to be spam calls. So why is this so difficult to get a hold of?
You know, this firm that did the study called First Orion has tracked spam traffic. And they're a spam blocking firm, so in full disclosure, but they said that about 4% of calls in 2017 were spam calls, 30% this year, and almost 50% next year. And these are calls that are more insidious. There's laws around do not call lists and robocalls, but these don't protect consumers. And what's happening is that these entities, and a lot of them are foreign entities, kind of use viruses or phishing scams to get people's contact list. And they harvest the phone numbers in your contact list to show that in your caller ID, it's a local call. You're more apt to pick up the phone. And then they're going to either try to sell you something like a timeshare, or more importantly and illegally, they're going to pretend they're a bank and they're going to ask for information, or they're going to pretend they're the government and ask for information. Companies are not allowed to call and ask you for information. You have to reach out to them first. So that's very important to know. And what's more insidious is not only are seniors a big target, but really immigrant communities. So these callers are calling Chinese communities, Middle Eastern communities, Iraqis, Iranians, and Mexican communities to really kind of get these people nervous and to disclose a lot of information that then can be used for illegal purposes.
And we can expect more of these calls to look out for.
A lot more.
Come next year. Now, locally, there's some news regarding SeaWorld. Can you tell us what is the latest regarding the settlement surrounding Blackfish?
So there's a bunch of lawsuits going on. This is just one of them. So there was a lawsuit filed by the SEC against SeaWorld for not disclosing to investors information about Blackfish. They said that between December of 2013 and August, when they did announce that Blackfish had a material impact, that executives in the company misled investors to that. So the fine was $5 million, $4 million being paid by SeaWorld, $1 million by the CEO at the time, a guy named James Atchison, because during this window, he actually sold stock and saved almost $750,000 in losses. So he's paying that plus a penalty. And the reason is that SeaWorld had a lot of things going on at the time that they can hide against Blackfish. They had 2 price increases that were not well received by consumers. They had OSHA lawsuit that they were dealing with, and a lot of competitors at the time, especially Disney and Universal Studios, had big new rides where that sucked away traffic. In 2014, they had a lot of celebrities didn't cancel shows in Orlando. Southwest Airlines canceled a 25-year relationship, having Shamu on the planes, and so they couldn't hide that any longer. So that was the result. Now there's 2 more lawsuits going on, one by the Justice Department and one by a class action suit by shareholders. Those need to be resolved, but thankfully, SeaWorld has one thing behind it in its path to kind of get out of the Blackfish cloud.
What's that?
The impact on attendance in particular. So for example, in San Diego, we used to have over 4 million visitors to SeaWorld, and 75% of those are locals from San Diego, Orange, LA, and kind of Riverside counties. CNN during this time showed Blackfish almost every week, and Southern California consumers were very much susceptible to that message. So the big attendance declines were from locals who protested the concept of the
concept laid out
in the movie.
Yeah, big impact. Miro Kopik, always great to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ebony.